everyone.
Hey everyone, this is Billy Beck III from BB3 Fitness Nutrition Center. Today I have a special guest for you, someone that I've been learning from myself for a very long time and really inspires me. You're probably like, who inspires me? This is the guy, you're about to meet him. Zach Even-Esh. He is the founder of Underground Strength Coaches, where I found him.com. You should really check that out. He really took like the gym game to another level because everyone else was just using machines and dumbbells, staying on one leg on a ball and all kinds of weird stuff. And he just took it back to basics. And fundamentally, I got to say, I just want to preempt this because the Green Bay Packers, the first couple teams, they had like 3 plays in their playbook. Now a playbook's like this thick. And they said, okay, we're going to run up the middle, we're going to run to the side, we're going to run to the other side. And everyone knew it was coming, but they just practiced it so much that no one could stop them. And that's the way Zach's mindset is. I really love his new book that's coming out. And that's what we want to talk to you about today. With no further ado and me babbling, Zach Even-Esh. How
Cool.
are you, brother?
I'm pumped to be here, man. I'm really excited. I'm even more fired up with your vision board in the background and the lions.
Right?
Yes, I love it. It's like just seeing that and seeing your, your quote or your statement on the back. The time to be awesome is now. And that's amazing, and that's true, and I love that. When I see your Instagram videos and your photos and the quotes, I get fired up, dude. I'm a big believer in that. I love it.
Yeah, we have a lot in common like that because, I think what makes you and I different and your book different is most people are just teaching, like, if you go on Instagram, let's use Instagram because that's like the thing.
Sure.
People going on there and there's their workout.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, people watch it, but how many people are actually doing it? And what's the difference between someone that says, hey, that's a great workout, and someone that doesn't?
I think that the bottom line is what you're saying is people want to be inspired. Nobody remembers anybody who instructed them. I mean, the instruction is obviously critical. You could be super inspirational and not really have great training, and that could work. The training, but the training has to work. The training has to be dialed in. But if we think about who we remember the most and who truly helps us change our lives, it is the people that inspire us. So if you think about Jack LaLanne and you look at his old, they have his old videos from, I guess, the TV show that he had. They're black and white, but they're amazing. And he doesn't just talk about training. He talks about like exercising your face muscles, smiling. He talks about people, stay away from negative people, stay away from mopey people. That stuff more than ever is what needs to be on TV and in the schools. And today I think we've gotten so caught up, overly caught up in all the crazy details. Back when I was, early and new to training, it was essentially train hard, train consistently, eat healthy, don't eat junk food. Now everything is so confusing. You don't eat, or you can eat this food, but only at that time of the day. And if it's a training day, if it's not a training day, now you got to eat this. And I think it confuses the heck out of people and literally sucks the energy out of them. People want to be inspired to take action, and exactly what that is. The time to be awesome is now. They don't want it to be complicated. And look, man, I don't know if you could tell another coach or a person of influence, hey, you have to inspire people. Some people are very monotone. They're just very chill. But when I think about training, I think about life. I think about utilizing training to carry over to my life, to other people's lives. And that's, I think, what makes you and I different is we view training as life. And you're always talking about being a lion. And I see like the pictures of the lion. I see Richard Branson back there, on your vision board. I see the photo of Arnold with this. And those photos, the photo of the lion, just the presence of a lion, Richard Branson being such a go-getter, Arnold Schwarzenegger always overcoming obstacles, or as he says, like, ignore the naysayers. To me, training is so far beyond the gym or wherever it is that you choose to exercise. Training is life, and successful people that live like a lion, that blaze their path, that climb to the top. Those are the people that are also training hard and they're inspired. And to me, I just, I feel like, as you're saying, the time to be awesome is now. I learned long ago, through my younger years of you think you have to wait until, this is finished, or you have to wait until you're a certain age, or wait until somebody gives you permission, or until people accept you. So I'm a big believer in being a lion and also train like a lion, train like an animal, live like an animal. All these things they sound crazy, but listen, I don't think anybody normal achieved that. When you have normal thoughts, you have normal goals, and I'm not a believer in that stuff. I'm a believer in big thinking and big action and everything that you believe in. That's like kindred spirits.
That's awesome. And, I think everyone watching this right now or listening in can tell that you're just not a writer. That because like a lot of these books coming out are people that don't live it. And it's like, oh, I'm a researcher, I'm a reporter. And I'm like, yeah, you can write a sentence, but do you really grasp it enough to communicate it the way it needs to be? And so much of the books out there right now are just rehashed information. But what I really love about you are in this book, which is cool. By the way, look at this freaking thing. You get those ugly black and white ones. Like, I just look through this thing. My whole training staff goes through it. It's all in color. There is, like, you want workouts, like Instagram workouts? I'm like, these are real workouts. This is some random person that has some random girl that has a nice butt, tight pants, like, jumping around and getting on the floor, standing up, and like, hey, and yeah, 10,000 likes. They're just looking at her butt. It's not inspiring them to go out and work out. Or maybe some of the girls, but the guys, they're just sitting on their ass. So, this book right here, I'm loving it because it gives everything in detail. But what is the best thing I would say is you took like the mindset, the motivation part, like what you were just doing, and you put it in here. And that's the first part of this. And, we all, as you know, we all learn through stories. And obviously you know that because you wrote it in a certain way where like, I started reading it, and I wasn't planning on reading it because I got the advanced copy. It was just like the Xerox one, right?
Yep.
And I started going through it. Before I knew it, I was done. I was like, whoa, I don't think I ever did that with a book before. I usually read a chapter, and I like plan it all out. But
sure.
This is awesome. So, you mentioned a few things just now, like about the mindset and naysayers, and I think one of the things that would help everybody, including myself, is you go through hardships. And, you go through change, and people don't do real well with change. They want to stay in their comfort zone. And, people that you've helped in the past, they may, come back on you and, screw you over on some level. Or, someone's just negative all the time. Like I was listening, I was working out the other day, and someone was complaining about something. And I'm like, and they put their keys on the rack, and they have like a Bentley. And I'm like, really? like, come on, man. And I know I heard him complaining about his kids and his family and how the ankle hurts and stuff. And it wasn't in my gym, thank God, because if it was, I would have to talk to him. But how do you deal with negativity around you? Because that could be a limiting factor for some people just making this change or training at their highest level.
Yeah, there's times where if you're surrounded, and sometimes the most negative people, the people that are holding you back, are the people close to you. It could be your family. It could be your closest friends. And sometimes you have to be a lion and do the things on your own. You have to be willing to say, you know what? The hardest thing, like you said, is change. And some people are so afraid of change that they're willing to actually stay in that kind of that negative area or that negative place in their life, in their work, because they fear just taking that first step. They fear the slightest bit of unknown. They fear the backlash that they'll get with people once they start eating healthy, once they start saying, everybody goes out to eat, everybody's eating crappy foods, and then you order, a salad with salmon on it, and everybody's kind of on your case. And that makes it challenging because you want to move forward and other people are holding you back. And one of the most important things that anybody could discover is you have to dig deep and really, it's okay to put yourself as the priority. As they say, when you fly, you and I were talking about flying, the first thing they say is before you help anybody else, you need to put your mask on. You need to take care of yourself, and you need to develop strength. The kind of training that you develop should challenge you in such a way that makes you uncomfortable while you train, so that when you do it in life, you feel like you've been there already. You've overcame challenges, obstacles. What I like to say is you turned obstacle into opportunity, triumph into tragedy, You went to the gym at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. You didn't eat the crappy food that everybody else ate. You chose a stronger, healthier lifestyle than other people. And then you start applying it to your life. And in the beginning, it's difficult. Like anything that's requires change, it takes consistency. They say it takes 3 weeks. I'm not sure if it's 3 weeks to build that habit, but it takes time. And the one thing that you got to do is once you kind of stray away from the negative people, from the naysayers, instead of letting their negative energy pull you down, I learned to harness fear. I learned to kind of get comfortable being uncomfortable. And the way to do that without complicating it is to just do it and to not make an excuse about it. Don't complicate it. I think people complicate everything from their nutrition, like what we were saying earlier, is like, yes, you could eat that food only if it's a training day, or don't eat that food, or only between this hour and that hour. It's too complicated. Just take the step and eat healthy. Don't worry about the perfect workout routine. Just go out and take a jog or go for a walk. A walk might be challenging for you. Instead of overhauling everything, the first step to changing your nutrition is get rid of the soda, then get rid of the bread and the grains in the house. Anything that has a negative influence on you, it's like, what you do with this, live like a lion, is the truth. You must be a lion and you must be willing to stand up to kind of the quote unquote normal people who are all around you who are fine with the status quo. And status quo could be training, could be life, meaning I tell people, I go, listen, with training, you're always training to improve. There's no such thing as going on maintenance. I train a lot of athletes, so sometimes the coaches are like, hey, help him go on a maintenance program in season. I'm like, dude, I don't believe in no maintenance program. If we're training to make improvements. And a lot of people will come to me not just for training, but also kind of life and business type advice because they see where I came from as a teacher and then kind of running the business while teaching and leaving my teaching job. And I tell them, I go, you don't have to leave your job, but if you're working somewhere, then climb to the top. Be the best. When I was a teacher, I wasn't thinking to myself, I'm just going to teach. I said, I'm going to become the principal of the school, then an administrator, then the department chair. I wanted to climb to the top. But you know what everybody else around me was saying? They're like, just, dude, they're like, just be the teacher. Like, it's easy that way. No stress, no pressure. But that's not living a powerful life to me. And I think that the people that were telling me do that, from what I recall, many of them were not hard chargers in their health, meaning they didn't go to the gym like I did. I understood what Arnold Schwarzenegger said. You've got that picture up there. He always said, think big, ignore the naysayers, and you're not going to climb to the top with your hands in the pockets, as he said. So with any negative energy, remove at least a part of it and climb a step higher. Remove another part and keep moving forward. And you could apply that to any area of your life. When I talk about a strong life, it's what you do with your training. It's what you do with how you work. It's what you do with your family. And they're all interconnected. And when I wrote that book, like you're talking about the stories in it, you like read it and you get inspired, and I haven't been inspired through a training book in a long time. I read a lot of books, and I love a book where it's like you read it and you're like, you turn the page and you say, I'm just going to read to the next page, and then you get to the end of the chapter and then you're like, let me just read one more chapter. I want to inspire people because I think that's missing, and I wanted to inspire not just people our age but also the younger generation, who they kind of have the distraction of all this technology, and they're not out there just like getting after it, kicking ass. They're kind of lost. So everybody has kind of this place in my heart, the younger generation, people my age, people older than me. To be inspired, you have to take control and you have to remove any outside negativity, negative energy, negative forces. You have to be aggressive in cutting that stuff out, moving forward, and being okay with being a lion. Like the lion in the jungle doesn't have a lot of friends. They're all, a little bit afraid, but that's okay. The lion is okay with standing alone and standing apart versus being part of the crowd. And that's critical to be successful in life in any area.
Yeah, Zach, that you said a lot of great stuff there. I think we could just take a nap and that would have been enough, but we're gonna keep going. Like one of the things when you're talking about, helping younger people, helping older people, and it's like, and then what's your age right now?
I'm 38.
Okay, you're 30. Hey, I'm gonna be 38 in a couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I remember listening to my parents like when I was growing up saying, "Oh, we had it this way,
Right.
and we had it this way." But like my gym's in a really wealthy area, and I noticed the kids they have their own challenges, but they're different than the ones we experience because the world's different. But the one constant, because I'll see kids come in because their parents make them come in, and I see kids come in because they want to be here. And when the ones that come in and they embrace training and they make that part of who they are, man, it just seems like they're different human beings. Like they stand tall, they make eye contact with me. The other ones won't even look at me when I introduce myself. They're real timid and shy. And and I always say live like a lion, not a lamb. And it's really the training aspect, going through like this, willingly going through the pain, the adversity, and doing things when you don't feel like doing it, really separates the lambs from the lions. And and one of your core philosophies is, keep it simple. And, I couldn't agree more because it's so complex. And, you talked about working with older people too, and you have a body weight train section in the book, which is like ideal for like young and old, really, as a starting point.
Yes.
So like someone may see this and see, your craziness on the front where you're flipping this huge tire. How much is this tire, by the way?
500.
500, that's it?
That's light. Yeah.
Light for you.
We have heavier tires too. But I was flipping that bad boy over and over for the photographer.
Isn't that always a thing during a photo shoot? They never get it right. Like, oh, do it again.
The photo shoot is no joke.
Hey, so as you're getting ready for this book, what was your greatest challenge, would you say? Because this is not a short book.
I went through a ton of challenges. Yeah, it's 400 pages. I'll tell you that when I've been writing for a very long time, and writing for me has always been something I love to do. When I remember freshman year in college, my fall semester, I had creative writing, and they just asked you to write about something that was memorable for you, and I wrote about the first wrestling match that I ever won. And I remember the professor spoke to me afterwards. He's like, I can't believe the detail you put into that. And I remember saying to him, I was like, I didn't really know. I was like, I just spoke from the heart. And to me, I was always had this like passion for things. So when I would go out to eat with friends of mine that were coaches, or I'd be speaking to adults, everybody would say, you have to write a book because you ask me one question and it takes me like 30 minutes to answer it. Like I have so much running through my mind, so much energy and passion. And one of my friends, he says to me, he's like, you're a goddamn genius. He's like, just put this on book. He's like, I can't stand. We go out to eat. He's like, you're talking for like 2 hours. I ask you a question and you're talking about how you changed this kid who was, 88 pounds. Now he's 135 pounds. He's one of the best athletes in the state. And things that really hit home for me were a couple of things. Number one, when I was younger in high school, I was kind of very up and down. I had a lot of negative energy in my life. I didn't know how to handle obstacles. I let them pull me down, and it big time affected in a negative way my health, my energy levels, my overall happiness, my success, be it in school and anything else I did. And when I got into my freshman year of college, then I really hit a low point and went through a bout of depression. And I remember when I finally pulled out of depression, I was actually in Israel at the time visiting grandparents, and a friend of mine told me to just taught me how to start looking at life and waking up. You have the time to be awesome now. I'm so pumped just like seeing your what's in your living room here. And I learned through books, especially Arnold Schwarzenegger's Education of a Bodybuilder. I read it probably hundreds of times. I read it for 3 years in a row in high school. I got it from the school library, and I kept signing it out to make sure no other kid in the school would get it. But he spoke about um, when he everybody in town when he lived in Austria. They're like, Arnold, what, you're gonna be the man with the biggest muscles? Like, this is insane. Be a policeman. Be a policeman like your father. Think normally. Stop being crazy. All of this weightlifting and drinking all this milk, like you're out of control. And then he started, becoming a bit entrepreneurial. He started managing gyms. Then he, came to America. All of these overcoming obstacles inspired me so much, and I hadn't read a book like that to me truly, like, it kept me alive through my tougher years. And I wanted to be able to do that for other younger kids that were going through what I was going through. That was number one. Number two, when I did finally decide to write the book, I was connected with a publisher, and that publisher would connect you with a co-author. And in a nutshell, the co-author was, he was not a lion. He allowed all the negative energy, and he just had a million and one excuses, and he finally bailed out. And he bailed out after we did the photo shoot. We had over 2,000 photos. We spent 3 days in the summer heat just taking photo after photo. The photographer that they partnered me with was amazing. But my athletes, as you saw in the book, were with me for those 3 days. They gave up their time to hang out with their friends, to do quote unquote normal things. It was like upper 90s, super humid. I mean, it was just a brutal 3 days. And when he dropped out of the book, I was like, holy crap, what am I going to do here? I was like, this book is such a headache, I'm not even going to friggin' do it. I'm just going to use these pictures. I'll create another ebook. And that ran through my mind literally for maybe a day, 2 days. And then I like said to myself, I was like, man, there is no freaking way I'm going to quit. Because if I quit on that book, I just quit on all my athletes that stayed with me for 3 days and sacrificed some of their time to be with me. If I quit on them, like what kind of person, what kind of coach am I? And then I started thinking to myself, what am I going to tell my kids when I grow up? If they ask me, did you ever write a book? I'm going to tell them I quit. And I got so fired up. So I spoke to a couple of some of our mutual friends, spoke to some other friends that have written some pretty big books. And then I reached out to John Duquesne of Dragon Door, and I sent him like an outline of the book and photos. And he was like, this is awesome. Let's do it. And I started writing, kind of just writing a little bit of my beginning story of my training years. And that was a little bit before Hurricane Sandy hit, which is just shy of 2 years ago. And I live near the beach. My house is about a mile and a half, 2 miles from the beach. Maybe it's like I could ride my bike to the beach in about 6 minutes. So it's super close. Hurricane Sandy hit. It just, I can't even like put it into words. I mean, there was boats like through the streets. The houses from the beach, 1 mile inland, were just crushed. I rode my bike through there. I remember seeing like kids, stuffed animals out on the sidewalk. Like people's houses were gone, and I started saying, man, like this was such an emotional time. It was so tough to get through, and my gym had to shut down. I lost half of the members. And it reminded me that what you and I kind of said earlier is that, what am I going to do? Write another instructional book? Like, how is that going to help anybody? I need to inspire people. So I said, you know what? I'm going to turn this book into one of the most inspirational books that influenced me. And I read Education of a Bodybuilder, like I said, from like the end of my freshman year all the way to the end of high school. Like, I kept signing the library card over and over. I must have signed like 8 to 10 library cards. You didn't see anybody else's name but mine. And that book spoke about Arnold overcoming obstacles, turning obstacle into opportunity, triumph, tragedy into triumph. So I took stories of all my toughest times from when I was a kid, leading all the way up, through my days of being a bodybuilder, and then I also shared the success stories of the athletes that we trained. And very similar to what you said, the weakest kids show up at our gym. That's almost what we're known for, is taking kids that are undersized and so, unsuccessful and not confident. 80 something pound kids that are 14, 15-year old come to us. They won't even look you in the eye. Exactly what you were saying. To me, those are the kids that like I love to reach. And then there's guys in the book. One guy was something like 275. Just through following the training and the nutrition protocols, he got down to like 215. To me, that's who I wanted to reach. I wanted to get to those people. And those are the people that have the cards stacked against them. Because what does everybody tell them? You're too small. You're too weak. You don't have the genetics. How are you going to do this? I wanted them to have this book and to be empowered, to take control. And that's what this book is going to do. So it will inspire them. Then it will instruct them. And it's like your right hand man. It's like your right hook. That's what this book is for all those people. And of course, I want to help the people that are already inspired, but near and dear to my heart are the people that are having the tough times, and that's how I wanted to do it. And this book took me a long time, and when Hurricane Sandy hit, and the 2 weeks of time where we didn't have power, it something really hit me about the people that are strong were going to thrive, and being strong is so important in your life because we're all going to be hit with obstacles of all types. You're an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur, we're business owners. Sometimes people steal from you. Sometimes you put all your heart and energy into helping people and then they leave or they take something. These are the things that happen, and if you're not strong, those things will pull you down and hold you down. When you are strong in life, it has that correlation with the training in life. You'll thrive. You'll turn all those oppositions into opportunity, and you'll be a success. And tough things are going to happen to us, and that's why I wrote this book. I wanted people to have this book and just to want to freak out and kick some ass after they read just a page of it.
Yeah, I'm ready to. I'm going to go kick some ass right now. Honestly, that was like, oh, that's so good, man. You're inspiring. So check this out, then. One thing in the book I noticed, you have a lot of quotes from Bruce Lee.
Yes.
Well, yeah, tell me more about Bruce Lee. What do you think about him, and how is that transition? Like, why is it important to training?
I think the way he approached training was he was very free. He didn't say this style of kung fu is the only way that you can be a martial artist. You can only punch like this. You can only do this. He didn't discriminate against, a lot of MMA fighters today say that he was truly the first mixed martial arts fighter. And to me, when I look at training, I'm not the kind of person that says, you can only use a kettlebell. You can only power lift. You're calisthenics only or you're yoga only. To me, I believe if something gets you strong, don't discriminate against it. I run the two gyms. I have two underground strength gym locations. We don't have machines. But you know what? If I had the space, I wouldn't be adverse to putting in a couple of machines. But we train with a variety of methods, a variety of training tools, because they all have their place. I don't discriminate against what gets you strong in the same way that Bruce Lee didn't discriminate against the different ways to truly be a martial artist. And I loved how he was free. There was a freedom to that. And I think the freedom is what allowed him to be powerful. And of course, I love the way he went about teaching Kung Fu, where kind of like the people at the top, the masters, they didn't like it because he was an immigrant. He came to the country, and they were like, you can't teach Americans what we know. They were telling him like they're the enemy, and if you don't stop, there's going to be ramifications to this. And he said, I refuse to stop. Like, I love that martial arts is life-changing, and I'm going to teach anybody who wants to learn. And to me, that's how I see training. Like, I don't care what, the quote-unquote experts say, Zach, you can't train people too hard or not hard enough, or it's not backed by this scientific method. I don't care what they say. What I care about is helping the people that walk through my gym, helping the people that reach out to me through, the internet or social media or whatever we want to call it. I care about changing lives. I don't care if I'm not using so and so's philosophy of training. To me, that's not what it's about. Strength, is it's all about what you're connected to. That's why when I stopped training at like the traditional bodybuilding gyms, I remember training in my garage, and I just felt so like natural. I felt like invigorated. And then some days I would go to the playground and just train on do all bodyweight exercise. I would just do whatever. Sometimes I would go to like a new construction area, and I'd like go find a stone and I would train with that stone, and it gave me such an awesome feeling. Or last Sunday, I went surfing, and to me that makes you strong. So my training isn't necessarily quote unquote gym training. Last Sunday we went to the beach at 6:30, and I remember it was like a stressful day for me. I was trying to get certain things done. Usually the weekend I lay low, and I remember I got into that water on the surfboard, and like the water hit me, and I was out there with my son. It is just like the power of the ocean, and I just felt amazing. And that's why I don't like to discriminate, because if I do discriminate against training, you know what I'd be saying? Oh, tomorrow's bench press day. I don't want to fatigue my shoulders and arms by going surfing. To me, it doesn't matter how much you bench press. Strength, truly, for what I believe in, is not so much measured in the numbers that you lift, but in the obstacles you overcome. And if we are to measure athletic success, this year we've sent a large group of kids, help them get to Division One schools, and a lot of them don't bench press a lot. We've got Division One wrestlers, swimmers, track and field athletes, and their numbers in the gym may not be the same as the numbers elsewhere, but you know what? It doesn't matter. What they've learned through life, and they say it all the time. When they leave, they're like, "I'm going to live the code. I'm going to I'm going to work so hard. I'm going to elevate the intensity of the practice room. I'm going to do awesome in school." They're applying it to all areas of their life. So when I look at strength, it has nothing to do with this is the only way. And that's how Bruce Lee thought. He wasn't closed-minded. He was super confident, yet not. He was arrogant, but not in a negative manner. He believed in what he was doing so much that he couldn't contain it, which is, to me, I think that's amazing. When somebody wants to truly share what they're doing, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, you know what, Zach? You said something that really rings true with me, because I have a team of trainers at BB3 Train Center, and my biggest thing is, I have to manage the team to where we're all focused on the same thing, and they're awesome. We have weekly continuing education and so forth, but one of the things I always say is don't become a groupie, because something worked for you doesn't mean it works for everyone. And plus, you got to look at three things, and I think you really illustrate that in this book, because you have a lot of variety. And what you said with Bruce Lee is, when you're a groupie, you kind of shut down all possibility. You're just like, this is what works for me, this is what works. And you're going to spend more energy and time defending your perspective than actually making progress.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, to me, it's a waste of time. Like, I don't like to debate. Like, people like on Facebook a lot, they like to debate, like, what training methodology, this and this. And I'm like, I'm going to go train while you're doing that.
Yeah.
I was like, let you guys take care of this. If I use guys lightly, maybe little girls. They're on there just complaining about stuff. And I'm like, this isn't productive, And it's really cool to see that, like, I think a big danger for trainers and coaches is they get caught up in their way, and they don't want to admit that there's other ways, because they make their livelihood from this, and they're like in the bodybuilder, and maybe they look great, so people say, I want to do what you do, but the truth is that's not what they need, and it takes a lot of courage. And you have a chapter in here called The Art of Coaching. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So as a coach, I completely agree with what you're saying, because I work with coaches as well. I've got a small team of coaches, but the coaches that come to my certification and then they start kind of moving on, doing their own thing, a lot of times I notice is they're not going to like create a training program in their gym until they see other coaches doing it. Oh, those coaches are doing an all women's training program. Now I'll do that. Oh, they're doing a youth program. Now I'll do that. They're waiting for permission. They're following to see what they feel is right. The art of coaching, And I tell my coaches, this is actually the toughest way to coach. You'll come to our gym and you might see, let's say it's all high school athletes. You might see two of them doing one thing, the other two doing another variation, the other two have to do a different variation because we're doing what is right for them. Same thing with the adults that we train. When we say, if on the whiteboard it says we're going to be doing, back squats, maybe not everybody is ready for back squats, not just physically, but also psychologically, emotionally. So if that person is intimidated with the bar on their back and they're truly not emotionally ready, I have to build up their strength. Maybe we're going to do kettlebell goblet squats, or maybe we're going to do just sled drags. So we're utilizing training that matches their personality, that still challenges them, that's going to get them to that next step. And then, speaking of personality traits, some people thrive on just very aggressive training, high volume. You'll work them out and then they want to do more. And then you have some people that are kind of more like, you know what? I just want to train hard enough. I don't want it to crush me. I don't want to walk out of here feeling exhausted because then it's going to mess with my head. So I match that training to their personality trait. And then you have the flip side where sometimes you need to get that person tougher, be it for sports, be it for life. They're always afraid, they're timid, they cower to everything that happens to them in their life. If you train them in a challenging way and then you communicate with them and just, Billy, you just crushed that workout. And when you came in here, you were saying that you don't think you could do this, you don't see you could do that. But I told you that if you just go through it and take one step, then another step, I knew you could do it. You're an ass kicker. Have an awesome day. Get out there and kick ass the same way you did here. Then we'd start working with that person on a regular basis like that. It changes their life. They become the person, like you said, that can't look you in the eye to the person that stands tall, that doesn't fear the challenge. Or maybe they do have fear, but they now learn to harness it. So I look at all these different physical traits, personality traits, emotional traits that the person has, and I adapt the training like a chameleon to meet their needs. And sometimes they change on a day-to-day basis or the time of year. Things change for athletes, whether it's in season, preseason, the middle of the off season. Same thing with adults. They may have certain times of their life where they're much more stressful or they don't have as much time. So I work with those changes in their lives to make it adapt to them. So we're very much intuitive and just, it's called auto regulate versus you saying, this is the blueprint, this is the plan. We don't veer from it, we don't change. Well, what if I feel like crap and you're going to try to crush me that day? Or vice versa. What if you're telling me it's going to be a super wimpy day, easy, let's back off this week. But I come in and I'm like, dude, I feel on top of the world today. Let's just tear this gym to pieces. I want to crush it. And then you're like, no, 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 no. That's not good. You want to go with the highs, go with the lows, and sometimes you want to fight against the lows and teach people to overcome those things. So the art of coaching, that takes time, and it doesn't just apply to a coach. It applies to people that train themselves. So for example, myself, I train myself, and Sunday I did a workout just in my backyard. I have one kettlebell. And normally I take the weekend off from doing any kind of lifting, but we were at the beach. I play tennis with my kids. I go to the playground. When I'm at the playground, I'm doing pull-ups and dips. But that morning, I was like, you know what? I need to kick my own butt because in the back of my head, I was feeling a little bit lazy. So I wrote about it and I said, like, you have to punch your inner laziness in the face. Like your inner voice is like, oh, Billy, take it easy today. You need to rest. And deep down, you're like, man, I should just do something because of how you'll feel. So I went outside, went in the backyard. It was just fresh air, sun is out, my dog was in the backyard, no noise, no walls around me, just the outside. And I did a little warm up, and then I did a kick butt kettlebell workout. It took me like 15, 20 minutes, and the whole day changed for me because I overcame the obstacle where in the back of my head I was like, rest, take a day off. And I just felt like $1,000,000, and I'm still proud of it. And it was like, a week ago that I did that workout. So training, and learning that art of coaching for yourself, it's powerful because it will help you in life. Not, I don't look at training as how can I help you get a six pack abs? How can I help you get your legs toned and tightened? I don't. That's kind of the surface. I like to go much deeper than that because that's when people start connecting with that kind of inner self. That's when you start really achieving greatness, big time.
Nice. That's awesome. And you know what you're saying, I think, is really what is needed right now because we got P90X and you got Insanity, you got CrossFit, and I like that stuff honestly. But you have someone sitting on their couch buying Insanity and then run around like crazy, and their idea of exercise before they start that program is run to the bathroom on a commercial break. So, there's intensity, but there's also intelligence.
Sure.
What I think people need is like the way I learned growing. As I started learning, I got my first weight bench when I was like 4, literally in punching bag. So I got it's Arnold's Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding.
Sure, I have it.
I did it. You have it like right there, probably.
I got it right here. I have a bunch of copies, and
that's the one I have too.
Yeah, I like the original one more than the new one because there's that history behind the guys from the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
I really enjoy that book.
Yes.
But I remember doing all the workouts in it.
Me
the best
too.
way to do is find someone who's a great coach, look at the programs they have, and just immerse yourself in it.
Yeah.
And that's what I suggest people do is get your book. And it's kind of cool that yours is the Encyclopedia of Underground Strength and Conditioning.
Yes.
Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding.
Right.
Is there a reason for that?
Yeah. That book. See, Arnold's books. They didn't just instruct me; they inspired me. I would stay up late at night and just look at the photos, and I felt like the intensity from the photos and like the passion they had. I could feel it, from the pictures, and certainly that the photographer that would take pictures, they were amazing at, all that, pulling the camaraderie and the passion from those photos. But yes, that book is more than just training. That book is all about Arnold overcoming obstacles. It's about the time that he wasn't inspired to work out, and then he looked in the gym and saw everybody just tearing it up, and he said, man, he got inspired to go and do that. I learned so much from that book. And even though that book was written, I think, in the 80s, it just inspired me. So it inspired me to turn my book into an encyclopedia. But it's crazy. I look at it, I was like, oh man, this book's huge. It's 400 pages. It's 1,000 photos. Arnold's book is still like twice the size.
All right. That's awesome. Hey, I know we could talk all day. I know you're a busy guy. So let's wrap this up. I want to finish with something kind of cool because, like in summary, what we said was one, I'm going to kind of paraphrase you. So if I'm wrong, you just cut me off. But you said, ignore what other people think. You got to follow your chosen path. You got to, don't get confused. Just keep it simple. And I really think you live that, and you teach it well in your book and in real life on your website and so forth too. And I'm sure at your gym. I haven't been there yet, but I'm looking forward to being there one day.
Yes.
And then you really talk about the mindset more than anything. And then when you talk about nutrition, you just say change habits, which I think is brilliant because that's really what people need. They know what to eat.
True. They know.
But so it sounds like mindset. Train hard, but don't be stupid. And keep it simple. And then, with your nutrition, make sure it's simple and sustainable. That's really what it's about. If you do that, you become a better human being.
Truth.
Is that about right?
That's the truth. And that sounds like people are going to be like, wow, that sounds so simple and doable. And it is. It is attainable. It is doable. And I'm not going to, I could have pretended to make things complicated, but that's not the way I live. That's not what I believe in. The power to change is in front of our faces. The opportunity is there. So, without a doubt, I agree 100%.
Yeah, and so one final thing, like how people are going to watch us, like, oh, I'm going to get that book, and sometimes they won't do it. They're like, what the hell? Or they'll buy the a book, get dusty. So I read a stat: 90% of people buy a book don't read past the first chapter.
It's
And I think
crazy.
after listening to you talking about how you immersed yourself, and you're very successful, and some of the people may not know, but you were an accomplished bodybuilder. You're
Yeah.
pretty strong as an ox. You can lift some serious poundage. Give everyone a weight of one of your lifts.
I could always deadlift on a routine basis. I could always deadlift 500 pounds, bench press over 300 pounds. And even though I'm actually considered heavy, I usually hover around 217 or so. I could do over 20 pull-ups, full range, and I've been able to do that since age 14. So I'm always, I always train hard. I always make sure that I could do the training and not just talk about it or write about it.
Yeah, and you like me, I have a surfboard mountaintop my truck all the time.
Awesome.
So I go to the beach pretty much every day.
Nice.
And, if there's a wave there, I'm going to surf it.
Yes.
Maybe not well, but I'll try my hardest. But the cool thing is a lot of people think, if you're that big and strong, I don't want to get blocky and tight and can't move. And,
yeah.
You're more athletic and you're involved with your kids. You're at the playground with
yes.
and stuff. I think that's one of the things that is really inspiring too, and it's a common myth that this makes everything better.
Be athletic. Don't, if you're going to focus on one thing, to be honest with you, this book is not about you becoming the greatest bodybuilder, the greatest powerlifter, the greatest triathlete. This book is about truly training for life. If you're just an individual, you're going to want to read this book to inspire you. You could flip open the page to anything and pull something out to utilize that day. If you're a coach, knowledge is power. Coaches, as you know, we always want them to get smarter, to increase their knowledge, to get more inspired. And if you're a teenager or a parent of a teenager, get this book for that person. I made this book. I know it sounds crazy. They always tell you in business, you have to niche your book. I didn't want to niche it. This book is going to be for the teenager to the person in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. It's a book that's going to be about life, and there hasn't been a book about training and life for a long time. And here's what I do with reading, what I tell people, because I tell all the athletes and the adults I train, I say, you must read. And Will Smith, I remember, said that powerful quote. He said, all powerful men run and read. And I tell people, you know how I started reading? I really got into reading around 20. I always read in my high school years, all the bodybuilding stuff, but I started reading about life in my early 20s, 22, 23, and I used to say to myself, you're going to read 2 pages tonight, and that's like saying just floss 1 tooth. You're not going to do 1 tooth and stop, but reading before you go to bed at night, it empowers the mind, it calms you down, and that's the thing. It's like, when you read and set the goal to read, it makes you feel accomplished. All those little goals, I don't say, hey, read a chapter. Reading is critical. This book is going to inspire you, and it's going to want to make you really change your life, not just build bigger biceps. And that's more powerful than how much weight you could lift.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So, Zach, where can they pick up a copy of the book?
This book will be out September 8th, Dragon Door, Amazon. It'll be on bookstores. Wherever you post this, you'll probably link it up below, and they can pick it up, and I know they'll love it. And it's going to be physical and Kindle.
Nice.
Yes.
You know what's cool is I go to a bookstore, I can't wait to see it on the shelf at Barnes & Noble.
I can't wait. It's going to be weird.
Yeah, I'm so happy with them, man, because it's like, whoa, you know that guy.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be funny just seeing my book, because I've spent so much time in bookstores, and I have the original. It's somewhere. My bookshelves. I'm going to give you guys a quick little. It's
cool.
So there's one of them. It goes all the way down. There's another one over there. And then behind us, I have a drawer of books. And then on the bottom of those shelves, I have more cabinets of books. It's crazy. But when I bought the first Arnold encyclopedia, was when I went to Israel. And my brother and I remember, were sitting on the floor of the bookstore. And the book in Israel was twice the amount of what it was in the States. So I think my grandfather bought it for us. It was about $50. Back then, I was in entering third grade. My brother was entering fifth or sixth grade. And I remember we were sitting on the floor, like reading the encyclopedia, and they kicked us out when the bookstore closed. So I've spent so much time in bookstores. I think books are super powerful, and people must read. And I'm just excited because this book's going to be a game changer and a life changer. So I'm proud of it, really proud of it.
Hey, well, I'm proud of you, brother, for putting your heart and soul into this. And
Thank you.
You make it your mission to really your focus is helping other people, and
That's
now,
it.
the rewards are coming back to you from your hard work because the more you give, the more that comes back to you. You know that.
Yes.
But let's let people get this book right now. So the link will be below. We'll make that happen. I'm not real techie. You organize all this stuff for me, so thank you, buddy. And hey, it's been an honor, Zach. I'm here to help you with anything I can. And I know this book's going to change lives. And also, undergroundstrengthcoach.com too. If people want to go even deeper with you, I highly recommend that.
Cool.
Great stuff on there. Daily motivation.
You're the best.
If you want to be a lion, check out Zach.
Boom. Thanks so much, guys. Billy, thanks. Everybody take care, and reach out to me through like Twitter, Facebook. Let me know how you love the book. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Billy.